Hi, I'm Danny Ecker. 2012 marked a year of healing in the Chicago banking sector. Coming off gradual improvement in 2011, even with weak demand for loans, Chicago's lenders continued down the path toward normalcy again. The question now is what normal means for many major local players. I sat down with Crain senior reporter Steve Daniels to look back at the year that was for Chicago's banking business. Steve, looking back at 2012, what signs have we seen this year that might suggest that banks are maybe returning to a stage they were perhaps before the recession?
Well, we're seeing a lot more banks return to profitability. That's the first thing. Through the last 3 years, we've seen a lot of banks lose a lot of money. More of them are now profitable. The second thing is most banks now, local banks that have been able or were able to repay the federal government its bailout money have now done so. There's still a few that are troubled that are not able to do that, but the vast majority have. So I think those are the two biggest signs of a return to health.
One of the big stories in the sector this year, the fate of one of Chicago's largest privately held banks, $2.7 billion asset Metropolitan Bank Group, owned by the Faceas family. We saw Roberto Herencia announced in May that he was potentially going to recapitalize that, but no formal steps following that. Why is that being watched so closely by the local banking industry right now?
Well, it's the second biggest privately held bank in the Chicago market. They have nearly 100 branches. This is a very sizable institution, very, very troubled. If that bank could be saved or at least recapitalized without having to go through a failure process, that'll be a real sign that banks are coming back, that investor appetite is strong, and that the regulators don't want to close as many of these banks as they've been forced to do through the last 3 years.
Sure. And looking ahead to 2013, now this year we saw Wintrust jump PNC to be the fifth largest bank by deposits. Maybe Wintrust will be an outlier from some of these mid-sized banks that maybe could be consolidating here in 2013. Is that something you expect to see more of?
Well, we're definitely going to see consolidation next year. Probably smaller banks than these mid-sized guys getting together, although you certainly wouldn't rule anything out. But I think the storyline that you're hearing for 2013 is smaller community banks selling to the likes of Wintrust, to some of these other mid-sized banks in town, and maybe some others as well. But the Wintrust number 5 deposit slot was more indicative of a local bank rising into the top 5, or a locally headquartered bank, I should say, rising into the top 5, for the first time in a while. And maybe we'll see others of our homegrown banks starting to grow into these larger institutions as well.
All right. The changing landscape of banking in 2012 and a lot on tap for 2013.
Indeed.
Thanks, Steve.
Sure.